the run itself was very hard and there were many difficult elements to getting through the run. But I think writing that didn't feel emotionally challenging in the same way that writing about grief did, where I had to access these really painful memories. I think the emotional pain versus the physical pain, the emotional pain was much harder to put on the page. The run was so big. I was covering almost 60 miles a day through mountainous terrain, and the sensations I was experiencing were the most dramatic probably of any run that I'd ever been on. So I think my body remembered them. Like they stayed with me more than like, you know, if I went jogging around my neighborhood. It's funny, when I went into the run, I told my partner that I wanted to try to end every day like recording some stuff, writing down like my highs and my lows and my favorite moments and what was hard. And then the reality was that at the end of every day, I was like getting into bed as fast as I could and lying with a bowl of macaroni and cheese on my chest and my puppy next to me. But after the run had concluded, I started to write down some stuff. Writing is definitely a cathartic thing for me, and in a way for me to process emotions. It also, you know, writing about my mom and getting to hold on to her through sharing this story felt really special, that I got to, there's a lot of hard stories about grief and about losing my mom, but there's also a lot of beautiful stories about my mom's life in it. And I think it was helpful in many different ways to be writing all of that as I was going through grief. And I'm still going through grief. So my mom was not a runner when I was growing up. She wasn't even really physically active at all. And she had a health scare when she was in her mid to late 40s. She had to have her gallbladder removed. And that moved her to want to start exercising more. And at first that was just some short walks around the neighborhood. And then that turned into race walking. And then she started running, and she did 5Ks and 10Ks and half marathons. And then the year she turned 50, she ran her first full marathon. And I was 19 at the time. And watching my 50-year-old mother run a marathon after she hadn't really been an athlete for most of my life was extremely inspiring. And that moved me to want to run a marathon myself. And then that obviously has escalated into all kinds of other running since then. But my mom is absolutely why I got into the sport and got hooked on the sport. She learned how to swim when she turned 60 so she could do her first triathlon. She lived through cancer with remarkable courage and joy. And so when she passed away, I really wanted to do something in her bold and brave spirit and push myself in the way that I used to in running. And so running across Oregon and trying to do it faster than anyone certainly was that thing for me. I didn't know if I could do it, and I knew I would have to redefine my strength through it. And the particular trail stood out to me because I moved to Oregon about almost 11 years ago. And when I did the run, it had been about 7 years that I lived here, and it's where I became a trail runner. And I really have fallen in love with the landscape here in the mountains, and they've helped shape me into a different kind of runner. And I think for me, running has opened the door to things that I at one point never could have seen myself doing. And I think there's so much meaning and joy and satisfaction in being able to go after those things. It lights a fire inside me, and then to actually see it through is so incredible and special. And yeah, I think it's like who I become when I go after those things. And I think about to stand on the border of California and Oregon and attempt to run across the state faster than any other human. I had to muster up a lot of courage. I had to run in this bold way. I had to dig into the deepest depths of my strength and resilience and perseverance. And obviously I ran with my mother very close to me. How to become a good runner? I think a couple of different things. I think keep showing up. I know some days it's hard to get out the door, but keep going out the door and putting one foot in front of the other, and it gets easier and easier, and you really do build strength and and confidence and all of that over time. And it goes from maybe feeling a little clunky to feeling really flowy and good. I think it's really important to run with joy and find the things that are going to make running fun for you, whether that's running in a beautiful place or running with friends or running with your dog, running with music, whatever it is that makes it fun. That's what is going to make you want to keep doing it. And if you keep doing it, you're going to become a stronger and happier runner.